Alright guys, this is kind of an introduction video to family bug out bags and kits for kids. A lot of guys have kits for themselves. A lot of videos I've watched are kits for adults, but not a lot of kits for kids. So this is kind of an introduction. I'll go into a little bit maybe some of the specifics that I put in a kit for kids in another video, but I just want to kind of give an idea of some things for kits for kids and different ages of kids. So I have 5 kids. My oldest is 18 and my youngest is 4, so I have quite the range of capacity and ability. So one of the things that I did is, this is the pack that's identical to mine. It's a little bit bigger, as you can see based on the size here. You can see that's a much bigger pack. There's a lot more room inside. One of the reasons why is because as the parent, as the father, as the adult, I want to be able to have more gear, or all the gear that would be required to be able to have a camp, to cook, to clean, to set a fire, to some of those other things. My 4-year-old's pack is a little bit less of a pack. It's something that's still light enough for her to carry, but she doesn't need to have a stove. 4-year-old with a stove is actually quite dangerous. So I'm about safety. There are things in here for her to be able to use the toilet. There are things, toiletries for her, other things, but it's a smaller bag because she's a little girl. In fact, she's right here. Can't see her hidden behind the bags, but it's a good kit to have, because little kids, a lot of times we don't think about what our kids would need or use, and making sure that they have something that they can take. Obviously you want to have clothes for your kids, you want to have stuff in there that they can use and have, but the idea is have a bag that's good for the child. My other son next up from the 4-year-old is a 10-year-old. He's got a little bit, this pack over here is a little bigger than this one. My 10-year-old is with this pack. My 2 daughters, who are 12 and 16, also have this same size of pack, and they have things in there that are designed for them. My son, who's 18, has this pack, which is a step down from this pack, and he has this pack for to be able to use and help out with stuff. So my wife and I would carry things that the whole family needs, like stoves, fuel, things of that nature, and then each of the kids would have their own food, they have their own things to be able to use, but they don't need to have, for example, my 4-year-old doesn't need to have a compass. She doesn't know what to do with it. My 10-year-old may not need a compass either, although he's probably more inclined to have one. As they get older, I add things to their packs that they would be able to use, or be able to have the knowledge to use, the capacity to use, and the skills to use, because I don't want them to be lost or separated from us and feel like they're not going to be able to make it. However, the reality is that there is more scenarios where you're going to gather your family together and you're going to bug out together, or you're going to bug in together and you're going to stay together. And because you're staying together, there are certain things that you can kind of delegate the bags. Some things I need to have in my bag, like for example, we don't all need binoculars. We don't all need a saw. We have a couple of saws, as I shared in my last video. I do have a couple of saws. I do have some redundancy things in my kits, in my bags, in my boxes to be able to do those things. But in the actual grab-and-go bags, just some of the necessities for what they have or need at their age level so that they can survive. I have, each one of the kids has pocket knives, stuff like that. I'll get into more detail onto what I actually put in the bag, but I just want to kind of get a video out there that talks a little bit about bug-out bags and for kids, because I just haven't seen very many of those, and I think it's important to be able to be not just prepare ourselves, but also to have our children be prepared as well, and have their own kits and bags, so they feel like they can, number one, contribute to what the family's doing as we're all bugging out, and 2, that if they did get separated from us, they would be able to survive a little bit and have the capacity, have the skills, have the knowledge, basically have the belief system that, and that's where most people really fail in survival situations, is they just don't believe they're going to make it, and they kind of lose faith, so to speak, that they're going to make it, and that kind of just deteriorates them down into a spiral. But if you have the gear, you have some skill sets, you have some things that you feel good about, that gives you that belief and that confidence to know that you'll probably make it and you'll survive, and it gives you enough confidence to make it to a place where you might be able to signal family or get together with family, especially as you have a family emergency plan, or you have a place where you all have agreed to meet in the event of an emergency. And emergency plans and other things are another video that I ought to do. So just some important things. So again, kits for kids, bigger kit for us as adults that want to carry more stuff, have more stuff for the group, And then each of the kids have stuff that's kind of delegated to them at their skill level, at their capacity level, based on their age. And the bags, of course, based on their age. I started with, by the way, I didn't always have the money to be able to go out and just buy bags for these kids. All of my kids started out with bags like this, and as I saved money and earned money, I started buying these bigger, nicer, more robust bags. All of these bags actually have the bladder section, so that they can have their own water pack as well. That's important. So just to kind of give you an idea where I've ended up and where I started from. All my kids had one of these, and now I've ended up with all of them having this, except my 4-year-old. This is too big of a bag for her anyway. So, all right, guys, hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.